And here we are down at the bottom left-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom. We have our Red Terran player from the team Evil Geniuses, the one and only Thorzain. And his opponent here in the upper right-hand corner from the team Virtus Pro, it is the Russian player Slivko.
And it looks like Virtus Pro has a BenQ sponsorship, or maybe Slivko himself has one. But, you know, BenQ is a very good supporter of esports. They make pretty good monitors, and, you know, they sponsor several teams, actually. Several teams in other esports as well. League of Legends and Shootmania actually both have seen some BenQ sponsorships. One of our Shootmania teams that qualified, TCM Gaming, is sponsored by BenQ. I just did an interview with them today and found that out. So they're going to be joining us at IPL 5 as well, if you guys didn't know.
Why don't you talk about that, the whole Shootmania thing for a second, actually, because I think you guys have something big coming up tonight.
Tonight we actually have the North American Qualifier number 2 semifinals and finals for Shootmania. We're going to find out the second North American team to be joining us at the $100,000 Shootmania tournament at IPL 5. If you didn't know, Thorzain is going to be proxy rexing here. But if you didn't know, StarCraft 2 and League of Legends are not the only games in the IPL circuit anymore. Shootmania is our first first-person shooter that we've ever covered, and they're going strong. And there's a lot of Quake Live former Counter-Strike players, former TF2 and Tribes players, all trying their hand at Shootmania, and you know, some of them are really excelling. TCM Gaming is really establishing themselves as a great first-person shooter squad, but now the second barracks is coming up, and Slivko will not know about it until he gets there with his drone.
Well, he's, yeah, wow. This may end up just becoming a command center here in a second.
Yeah,
and it looks
I
like
agree.
that's what it's going to be.
Oh man, oh man, should he? I mean, I suppose he should have canceled it, yes, because there's no way he was going to get the right kind of damage in after being discovered that quickly. So, good move by Thorzain. Let's see if he can stabilize and really, I mean, it's just minerals lost and a bit of time lost, but now, you know, he's just flipping it on its head, building that command center first to keep up with Slivko. Slivko didn't even have a pool, like, started when those barracks canceled, so Slivko's still right where he wants to be as well, not being forced into any weird build that he wasn't prepared for.
Good catch by Slivko, though, and he is now well prepared for the rest of this game. He just needs to continue taking, you know, as we mentioned before, it's a small advantage, but it's one that he can certainly stretch and kind of exacerbate for a while, especially given that his opponent is going for that command center first. Looks like he now sees the barracks that are coming up at the front, and hopefully we'll get a better idea of that. That's just something...
It's well lit.
A weird bug right there, actually.
That's the shiniest metal ever.
We can see that whole barracks, though.
Yep.
Good stuff.
That's that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see just part of it. I mean, that would be weird.
Yeah, but like this part should overlap, and it's not, and it's weird.
Oh yeah, he can't see the base of it. But there's another barracks coming up. There is spawning pool actually complete now for Slivko, so he's building a couple of lings to send out on various missions. Probably holding on to the Zelnaga towers. Probably testing the front with one of those lings as well, just to see what's going on. Keep Thorzain aware that there is a Zerg player in this game somewhere on the map. You don't know where, except you know it's in the top right. I remember that's one thing about Brood War maps where if you didn't know the maps, you didn't know where the mineral locations were, so you didn't even really know where to scout unless you knew the map already. And there were various spawn positions. It was never just these two spawns. There was always, you know, multiple places that your opponent could spawn. So that is something that's kind of disappeared with StarCraft 2.
I've noticed there were a lot more dynamic maps as well. I mean, you had things like island maps that would occasionally make their way into competitive play in Brood War. And you don't really see anything like that here. You have some that are like nothing that really encourages a specific brand of play, just maps that kind of encourage a very standard strategy.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of removes the ability of a player to have that ace in the hole, because they'll, you know, have the ability to pick a very strange map and surprise their opponent. I mean, obviously, with maps like that, bans and vetoes are kind of in place to prevent people from playing a weird map if they don't like it. But Brood War also had some weird stuff with like mineral patches that only had one trip worth of minerals in it. They used them as blockers so that you had to send a worker there at some point to get rid of it if you wanted to open that path, things like that. But now we have destructible rocks, and soon we'll have collapsible rocks that we have to worry about. But this hatchery is definitely not going to last, and the drone might actually escape. So that's at least one little nice thing for Slivko, not losing the drone. Yeah,
but he does now delay his hatchery. He unfortunately has produced a lot of lings now just to be able to defend against any subsequent follow-up from this. Thorzain's little push has actually been quite good. He's got 3 gas, it looks like, coming up at the same time with his command center finishing. And I wonder if he's going to switch up into mech after this, or if he will continue powering ahead with that, with the 3 barracks that he already has.
Well, the last TVZ game that I saw for Thorzain that we cast for Evil Geniuses in IPTL, he went Mass Thors.
Yep.
It was a 40-minute game, if I remember correctly. That. So, and I think it was Ohana was the map, but he built a ton of Thors, so I would actually not be surprised at all.
It was Kedaria, actually. Wasn't it a weird map like Kedaria or Whirlwind? So.
You could be right, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember he was in the top left and he had a bunch of Thors, so
yes.
I thought it was Ohana, but you could be right. Either way, just a really long game.
Regardless,
and lots of Thors, so it was pretty exciting to watch.
Okay, well, Thorzain may make a lot of Thors again, but no, he is actually going to go double engineering bay, and we are going to see a bio-focused build as he adds on his 4th barracks.
Yep, Stim is getting research as well. Going up to that starport tech eventually will allow him to make just a ton of medevacs. And Slivko, I haven't cast a game of his in maybe a year, so I'm not 100% sure what kind of style that he's been playing.
Back in August, before he left Roxkiss, we had casted some of his games as part of that team for Team Arena Challenge and such, but nothing as part of the Team Virtus Pro, to my knowledge.
Right, and we haven't had any individual style, qualifiers or leagues that we've cast recently. It's been, essentially Team League and Fight Club for the last few months. So
Hyun Club.
Hyun Club, yeah. Fight Hyun. IPL Fight Hyun.
Fight Hyun Club.
Yeah.
Hyun Fight Club Hyun. Hyun Club.
IPL
Fight
Hyun
Club. Fun.
IPL Roadtorn.
Hyun. Yes.
IPL, same build every game and still win 11 weeks in a row.
Hey, well, man, you got to go with what works. Oh no,
oh, wow.
Thorzain. Oh, that is very rough.
That's a lot of Marines to respond with, though.
Yeah, he's already lost, though, a lot of mining time. The economic damage is felt, and now he's going to lose a couple of workers on top of that. So this is exactly what Slivko wanted to happen.
Yeah, Thorzain actually juked with those SCVs. There's a couple that really should have died, but Slivko hit hold position at the exact wrong time. Either way, these SCVs are going to fan out. You can see them hold positioning again because they don't want to run face first into the Marines, but Thorzain had already gotten this surrounded. I actually would have expected more workers there, but more Lings coming in, and they get blasted down very, very quickly. Even more Lings are still trapped in here. 9 workers killed is not terrible, though, and did force a lot of lost mining time from Thorzain.
Yeah, that's a real benefit, and he's going to put a stop to this 3rd base for a while here. So 18 worker advantage for Slivko, but with the 3 mules, Thorzain, of course, once all these start mining again, is going to have a pretty decent mineral collection rate.
All right, 48 harvesters for Thorzain, 64 for Slivko. We've got infestors coming up now. Pathogen glands are done, so he can just make a ton of infestors at this point with that increased energy. Baneling speed is on the way. Saw a couple of banelings getting morphed somewhere. Maybe these little guys in the bottom right. Nope, no banelings there. Maybe just back at home, but either way, he's got that capability if he wants to flip them over to banelings at any point, forcing a cancel on a refinery, maybe even the second one. No. Oh, it did?
Yep.
Yeah, and now just running right back out of there. But we got something happening here.
Those banelings, yeah, and man, Thorzain is microing for everything he's got, but the banelings are still catching up, and Slivko has just been able to take advantage of every opportunity, every slight misstep that Thorzain has had, Slivko has taken advantage of, and really, he can sit on a pretty good advantage now. Does he have his infestation pit done? He does. Pathogen glands are finished, so he should start adding on some infestors because he certainly has the gas to support those.
Yeah, he was building 1 earlier. I don't know what happened to it, but it's not on the unit tab anymore. I really have no idea what happened to it, but I remember saying when Pathogen Glen's finished that there was 1 in production. Either way, Hive is on the way for Slivko. He's got a Spire going up right now. Resources lost actually still very, very equitable for both players. Lots of mules getting called down. That's going to give him a nice bump in the mineral department. He is somewhat limited by gas, but harvester count looks about right for both players at this point in the game. And yeah, we'll see which direction Thorzain's going to go. If you go back to production, did we have vehicle upgrades rolling at all? It looks like just bio. Oh, there's a +1 tank, +1 vehicle weapons, and an armory coming up as well.
Second armory,
Second
yes.
armory, yeah, good point.
So he may be able to switch over to pure Sky Terran late game or something along those lines. 2 more command centers, man. So Thorzain is really playing towards the late game here and taking the appropriate risks he needs to in order to ensure that he is still going to be okay. So Thorzain does pick up on the Banelings morphing in here, and we'll see how he reacts to those. Let's see if he was looking at his mini-map.
More importantly, did Slivko see that there's a medevac flying overhead, because he was not selecting those Lings and Banelings
I think so.
at the time. But yeah, we do see some spine crawlers coming up along the outside edge of his natural, so he looks to be pretty well prepared. There are some infestors out on the field with about half their energy each. 4 spine crawlers total in production right now, so they should be pretty prepared for this.
And the Spore Crawler is actually already chugging away at the
Oh,
medevac,
man.
which dies. And Thorzain already loses 1 full medevac of units there. Fungal Growth not catching the units, but it does grab the medevac. Nice job by Thorzain, actually drop down on the low ground there and kill at least a couple of units. So a clever maneuver to make the best of a bad situation.
That's true. He was, I mean, those were basically forfeited units, so the fact he got anything out of that is good for him. But losing that full medevac, that has to hurt. Thorzain slowly, you know, making little missteps that's starting to add up, and I'm sure he's getting quite frustrated with some of his play so far. But lots of starports coming up now. You were saying Sky Terran is a possibility, but we'll see if Slivko is going to try and drop the hammer before that's a potential you know, for happening. 8 Corruptors coming out now for Slivko. Greater Spire is going to be done soon, and he will have quite a lot of Broodlords out soon. This
is cool, though. I like this strategy. Thorzain trying to preempt the late game Broodlords that are inevitably going to pop out here. With, let's see, it's going to be, a total of 8 Corruptors, another 16 supply to turn those into Broodlords, and that's about going to be all. Thorzain going to have to defend this planetary fortress, yes, and it looks like he should be able to do so. He's got enough siege tanks there, and yeah, Slivko has to bounce away.
Let's see if Slivko, can we just go toward the natural? I want to see what that blockade for Thorzain looks like, if he's got anything. Okay, so we've got a couple of depots and a couple of barracks, not building on that destructible rock area that we saw in the first set with Lucifron versus Snoot. So actually a little bit less defended as natural. So the fact that all of his forces are at this planetary fortress could be bad for him if Slivko tries to attack through the natural. But what is actually going on the top left there? Oh, just a ton of Lings surrounding this hatch to make sure that it goes up.
Oh, and Thorzain unfortunately losing a couple of units there to the Banelings, and his attention may have been elsewhere, unfortunately. He does have 4 bases up, though, trying to get possibly a 5th, as he does open up all the command centers necessary. Man, does he have a lot of command centers. So 2 more are going to be added on here, and that's 5 that I'm just looking at in the bottom. There's a few more orbital commands, and that's another one.
Look at that production tab, though.
Yeah.
Ravens starting to come out.
Yeah,
Vikings,
Corvid
Reactor. Lots of energy for the Ravens. I have not seen Seeker Missile yet, but I'm sure that's up next. Another hatchery in really forward positions. He's taking all the rest of the remaining bases so that Thorzain can't take them, and then so he can keep his income ahead if they do trade armies. So Ravens might not be enough for Thorzain. There are quite a few Vikings still being churned out of those reactored starports. It looks like he's got 8 or so right here. The Broodlords do need some protection, so Slivko needs to keep producing Corruptors as he goes along. Infestors are going to be very nice for that as well. If they can fungal Vikings, it'll be quite good for him. And right now, it looks like Slivko's pretty well aware of all the things Thorzain's got going on.
Yeah, Thorzain's going to lose these structures, unfortunately, but he does pick up on the base that Slivko was trying to take out from underneath Thorzain. This hatchery over here goes down to a little bit less than half health, but looks like it will remain for the time being.
Yep, Thorzain actually has full coverage of his corner of the map with those 2 sensor towers, so he can actually see all those units at Slivko's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th base, 7th base, excuse me.
Yes, 7th base. So this game started kind of interestingly with that double 11 racks, or 11 and 12 racks, I guess it was, that got picked up on, and now it's turned into a very, very late game match.
Not surprising with Thorzain, with his nickname being the Spoon Terran. He kills you with a spoon, slow and agonizing death. But all these Vikings are going to kill Broodlords very, very quickly if it comes to that. Seeker Missile, 2 Ghost Academies, durable materials, all that good stuff.
I love watching Thorzain play.
Researched. Yeah, he's got the whole buffet of Terran units coming out here.
Yes, he does, and that makes him one of the more exciting players to watch, honestly. Because you know, okay, so I was extolling the virtues of the awesome aggressive games that we were witnessing before, saying that there's a lot of players that are like, wait, they're too passive, and then all of a sudden it's just one big build-up and that's it, As we'll take a look at this fight here real quick. It looks like Thorzain trying to pick up as much as he can, loses a few units to those banelings there and needs to duck out. But there is a certain appeal to knowing that there's going to be multiple nukes, tons of seeker missiles, and a billion Vikings all fighting through the air in a second.
Yep, so he actually got the Ghost Academies. Did he build nukes already?
No, not yet.
Okay.
He's researching 2 upgrades, Personal Cloaking and Mobius Reactor.
So you will be prepared to drop some nukes after those research are complete. Ravens do the nice little spin around. I don't know if they get bored up there. I think they're just drone piloted, aren't they? Like,
I think so, yeah.
Look at the portrait for a Raven. It's just a guy at a computer. I think they're just drones. But anyway, Planetary Fortress destroyed very, very quickly by all those banelings. The Marine's not going to take too many casualties, though, so that's good for Thorzain to keep his forces alive, especially when there's a big force for Slivko just above his natural. And
especially when you have this many command centers, it's pretty easy to start reproducing them. So that's an insane as this is actually starting to get sieged up, and an insane number of command centers there.
Oh, man.
But this army is in position. I think that is going to make for a bit of a problem for Slivko.
Yes, Slivko needs his infestors with this force. 5 more command centers being added on. So this is the force that Slivko's choosing to go with. He's basically maxed. He can't really supplement it any further at the moment. He needs these infestors and corruptors to really take care of the Viking count that we see here. Infested Terrans, I don't really know if that's going to be the right choice, but it is at least drawing tank fire away from the infestors themselves. We've got this huge Marine contingent actually picking off a lot of buildings. I'm very surprised that this much posturing is essentially leading to a base trade situation at the moment.
Oh, there's the Ghost. Oh, they all duck in, and they hit very nearly all of the infestors. There are only a couple that are left, and they're actually being shot down very quickly, so a very nice use of Ghosts. Here come the rest of the Ravens, though. Seeker missiles actually dishing out. All the Corruptors blow up at the same time, and the last couple of Broodlords are remaining, but there's almost no anti-air here afterwards, and Thorzain has just obliterated that force with the use of Seeker Missile and Ghosts. Incredible play!
Yeah, those Seeker missiles definitely paid for themselves there. All these infestors are useless. They have no energy left. Landed Vikings can even clean them out, and there's no sadder sight than landed Vikings killing anything. So
maybe this is a sadder sight.
This is not even as bad as the drones lining up to be killed or whatever it was.
Probes to the photon cannon.
Yeah, the probes, they were just waiting for their turn to be cannoned down, but Slivko, no chance is he going to be able to return in this game. GG's out of there.
Okay, that is, okay, so there is an appeal to that too. That ridiculous late game super air army there that we saw on display.